Good morning, afternoon or evening, ladies and gentlemen, Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily market update on this magical Monday. And if you are new around here and finding yourself on my channel for the first time today, don't forget to check out that subscribe button because we drop an update just like this one around 1 p.m. UK time every single day to help you guys not just stay up to date with the cryptocurrency markets, but the markets more broadly. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. We're going to be starting the video off with some recent comments from Cathie Wood. We're experiencing a Trump pump, and actually we thought the markets very much signaled a Trump victory going into the election. Certainly the Bitcoin space, which it came out very zealously for and in favor of. And what Cathie Wood has to say is interesting because she talks about the prospect of a strategic US Bitcoin reserve. And I think what we're witnessing, rather interestingly, is an arms race towards Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin is going to play this major role in the global stage, it's going to be of extreme interest to each individual country and the controlling of that network through mining. It's why we're very bullish on miners. We'll also talk about Cathie Wood's ARK Innovation ETF, which looks good. What we're doing here is showing you that the markets more broadly are positioned for that upside, and we see that represented technically across the board. We'll talk about Bitcoin, sensational weekend we had for Bitcoin, and then we're going to veer off towards MicroStrategy, which is essentially going to get listed on the S&P 500. A lot of the S&P 500's sort of flows are through passive index trading funds and ETFs. And MicroStrategy is set to do extremely well. You know, you've got to give it to Michael Saylor. He took a largely dead company, post-dot-com crash, and has turned it into one of the largest in the world. It's now in the S&P 500. And we'll talk a little bit about Palantir, which is Peter Thiel's, and I can hear the boos already, his company. It's doing very well. We have got a higher price prediction for this. And the reason that we're highlighting this in relation to MicroStrategy is this currently trades at 50 times earnings. And rather simply for the same reason that Bitcoin is going to do well, because stocks, things more broadly, have essentially just became a short currency trade. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and mute my mic. We're going to dive into our first clip from Cathie Wood. We're going to look at her innovation ETF, and then we'll proceed with the video. We've got a great time ahead of us for the cryptocurrency space, and your patience, in my opinion, is about to be rewarded. Let's get into the video that we have for you today.
Ahead. And on the digital asset front, I mentioned that Bitcoin is very much a part of this administration's plans, including building a strategic reserve. We're very excited about that. We think that this is the layer of the internet that the developers in the early 90s did not build in. And we were at risk because of the SEC of losing this next big wave of the internet, all around commerce, financial services, digital property rights. And now we think this administration is going to bring that innovation back home where it started, and we're going to ride that wave again. So we're pretty excited about what has just happened from an innovation point of view. We think that deregulation is critical and really allowing innovation, one of the biggest runs it will ever have in history now that these technologies are ready after 25 years of germinating. We couldn't be more excited.
Very interesting. And I wanted to play that because there's not just going to be this arms race in regards to Bitcoin. There's going to be an arms race in regards to the space more broadly. And when you look at Bitcoin's role globally, it's going to be an ever increasingly more important one. If you have a currency now that essentially is competing with the currencies of the world, and people are looking to it and using it as a kind of safe haven, a harbor, if you will, all these large companies are investing in it, not just within the US, but broadly across the world, and institutions. there's going to be this kind of arms race that's coming for it, and that's really going to promote and propagate and pump it, as we don't just see retail, which has largely driven cycles. We're now seeing institutions. That's why Bitcoin's gone in and put in a high pre-halving, and we're actually going to see nation states do the same thing. I'd really like to travel to Bhutan and sort of get to see what they've got going on there. So if anybody can make those connections, do let us know. But it's a very interesting sort of time to be alive, more broadly, and above all that, because we actually have, for the first time, certainly in my lifetime and many of our lifetimes, an alternative currency system or a value system introduced to us. For myself, I've only ever known really the British pound, and if I've gone abroad, the euro or whatever it may be. There's something really fundamentally very interesting going on. We'll talk about Bitcoin's price in just a second. This is ARK's Innovation ETF. Now, we would identify where this currently is as a phase 1. You are on the cusp, ladies and gentlemen, of moving into phase 2. And actually, we're going to give you a price prediction for Cathie Wood's ARK Innovation ETF. We're getting this, we're absolutely, from a stock market point of view, killing it at the moment in terms of predictions. Tesla, one of the recent ones to sort of go in the direction that we wanted it to. We're now going to give you a prediction for ARK's Innovation ETF, and we're going to see if this gets made. We had given a prediction in the Patreon. If you guys want to become a Patreon, now is the perfect time to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly if you've got stocks and things that you're interested in that you want us to look at. But Cathie Wood's ARK Innovation ETF, in my opinion, is on the cusp of getting back to $98. So a doubling from where it currently is. And this is a broader representation of innovation more broadly and where the markets generally are. There's lots of sort of stocks, smaller cap stocks certainly, in this kind of a stage, and really this is an innovation ETF. This is a great barometer for innovation as a sector more broadly, and what's to come for it. A doubling at least at a time when Bitcoin is now embarked on its next leg that we very much called here. Seeing lots of altcoins just pop off what seems rather randomly, but in line with the total market cap which we looked at, and the kind of completion of this bull flag, that depending on where you want to draw the flag from, whether you want to take it from here or whether you want to take it from here, we've got both targets on. We ultimately think the cryptocurrency space is heading to around about $6 trillion this cycle. That seems very plausibly, technically and fundamentally for me, and that's why we ultimately wanted to highlight Cathie Wood to kick things off. And to stick on the topic of more ETFs or stocks broadly, this is from Willy Woo. How can MicroStrategy possibly trade at 2.7x their BTC treasury? I suspect we are seeing the start of a 5 to 10 billion of inflows in anticipation of the S&P 500 listing right now. If true, then it's still warming up. Consider 20 to 30% of the S&P 500's 50 trillion market cap come from passive index tracking funds, so people that just passively invest through the ETFs and other funds. Inclusion into the S&P means MicroStrategy gets a chunk of that money. Inflows estimate 10 to 15 billion passive income index tracker fund, 5 to 10 billion additional speculative flows. This is ultimately going to really propagate MicroStrategy. And MicroStrategy has been an unbelievably good stock. In fact, we did have, and still do, I believe, have a smaller target for MicroStrategy that sees it get to 303, and it's very much marching towards there and likely going to continue. This is beautiful, in terms of how we look at the markets through the lens of our market mastery course, the sort of 4 phases of a market. This has got a long way to go, and this is a Bitcoin play, very much a leveraged Bitcoin play, in fact. But MicroStrategy very much on a broader journey. We've used the likes of MicroStrategy, the miners, to really give us a sort of good inclination in regards to the direction that Bitcoin's heading in. And in regards to people saying, oh, well, MicroStrategy time, it's overvalued at 2.7, its Bitcoin holdings. Is it? You could argue the stock market is extremely overvalued, but is it overvalued in a world where money is, becoming increasingly undervalued or devalued, I should say? If you look at the likes of Palantir, this is one that I think a Patreon member was asking about as one of his stocks, and we did give him a prediction for this pre-break, and you're very much heading towards 133 in my opinion. Current price is, of course, 58. You can see a real strong sort of impulsion here. Again, technology, innovation, we're seeing this across the board, and crypto is going to be one of the largest beneficiaries of that. And this currently trades at 50 times earning. who cares? You know, in a world where money is so easily sort of devalued and printed, what is valuation? And that's really all markets have became, more so than anything, is a harbour or a safe haven against a devaluing money system. If you look at the top 1% of wealth in the world, moves perfectly with the money supply, and that's because they understand the game. Like Warren Buffett did. That's why there's that great picture of him laughing with all the politicians. Guys, get ready for an explosive Monday. It's going to be an epic one, in my opinion. Bitcoin's starting off sluggish this morning, but you've got to give it to it. I mean, we did a live stream last night for about 1.5 hours. You know, Bitcoin very much went on and put in a high on the live stream, nearly got to, or did get to around about 82k. 84k is that short-term target that we have for it. And you're a whisker off of it. I think you're going to see that by the end of the week and that continuation. And the real sort of rise of the altcoin market on the back end of all of this. So I'm going to love and leave you all to your Mondays. Have a fantastic one. The crypto bull market is here, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy it, embrace it, and I'll see you all in tomorrow's daily market update. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.